What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to the new series of 5 simple steps to change your life. And today we're talking about how to make an action plan for goals. Step number 1, whatever kind of goals you have to break them down into specific, realistic, and time-bound goals. So there's no such thing as I want to focus on my book or I want to focus on my health, my fitness. Those are way too vague. You really need better goals in order to create an action plan to follow it, because we all know if you don't have something you can measure yourself by, you're not going to do it in most cases. It's really important. So really make sure that you write down your goals and you really make sure that each of them is specific, realistic, and time bound. So let's say you want to work on your blog, but for the last year you haven't been able to write consecutively for more than a week. There's always been something that came up that was more important, it seemed like it at least, or there was something that made you feel like, oh, I'm not motivated enough. So now if you say my goal is to write 3 blog posts a week, that's just not realistic. It has to be something that is doable with your current mindset. Yes, you can stretch yourself. Yes, you're supposed to push yourself out of your comfort zone, but it has to be something that is actually realistic. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't aim for the stars, but that's a long-term goal. What is the short-term goal? What is something you can do today and something you can stick to? So for example, if you are always able to write at least 1 blog post a month, then make it a goal to say, I want to have an action plan to having 2 blog posts a month. That is something that is realistic. It's not only realistic, but this one is also specific. So it's not something like, oh, I want to lose weight or I want to write on my blog post. It's very specific, as in, I want to write 2 blog posts this month. I have this project for work. I need to finish those 5 tasks by the end of August. So we had realistic, we had specific, and now we get to the time-bound thing. So it doesn't really help you to say something like, I want to finish this project and I want to finish those 5 parts and I work twice a week on them. You also have to have a time limit, because the more time you have, the more time it's gonna take you. That's just what it is. You can write your master thesis in 2 months and you can write them in 3 years. I know both of those situations. It's all possible, and it's all a matter of what kind of time limit do you set for yourself. So write down your goal, the one that you're looking into. For example, if it may be something with fitness, or it might be that you want to finish your book or you want to create your blog, whatever it is, you have to have those realistic, specific, and time-bound goals, and you have to write them down. Most people don't even write down their goals. How are you supposed to actually make progress if you don't have it written in front of you and are able to then push forward? Step number 2, you write them in your calendar, and you write them in your calendar with days and time slots. So I'm talking about, okay, I'm gonna write on my blog post on Saturdays between 2 and 4 p.m. and that's in my schedule. Yes, there is some wiggle room, and you might, when Saturday comes, to actually do it a little earlier or maybe even a little later. Maybe you're not gonna need those 2 hours, but you have it in your calendar, because then it's something that is really fixed and you have to make sure that this is taken care of. If you don't even write it down, it's that much easier to just forget about it. Then your friend calls and says, oh, let's go out for a coffee. And before you know it, the week has passed and you have not created that blog post. Before you know it, months have gone past and you're still at the same spot you were 3 months ago. Make sure that you bulk similar tasks at the same time, right? So you don't have to switch too much. So let's say you're doing something creative, do all of your creative things on Saturday. And if you have to do really practical things, do them on Sunday. It's a smart choice to kind of like put those things together, because that way your mind doesn't have to switch so much. It really helps you to stay focused in one task, because if you switch too much, you take way too much time to refocus on the new thing and then back on the first thing. That being said, it's really also incredibly important that you still make sure that you make progress in all of those goals. So let's say you have a project and it consists of 4 parts. Do not start working on part 1 and then you start working with part 2 once you finish with part 1. That's probably not the best choice, because if you're somebody who, for example, procrastinates or wants to go into detail, also a part of procrastination very often, you'll go more and more into detail on part 1 and you will not even start with part 2. So yes, maybe do like the creative stuff on Saturday and the things that are more about being productive and organized on Sundays, but you still have to make sure that by the end of the week, by the end of the month, you've made progress in all of them, preferably at the same rate. because only that way you can make sure that you don't leave anything behind, which our mind will do automatically. We have to help our mind get there. If we just let our mind wander and do what it wants, guess what? You will just end up where you are right now. So help your mind. Make sure that you really make progress in all areas. Make sure that you make progress in your fitness journey. Make sure that you make progress in your personal development journey, in whatever kind of goals you set for yourself, but you have to really look at them. They have to be present. That's why it's so important to put it in the calendar, that you bulk things that will help you to create even more and have more energy in the long run. But at the same time, make sure that you make progress in all of them. Step number 3, have in mind that although you have an action plan, the main goal is to be somebody who sticks to your action plan. You can make little shifts here and there, but it's not so important to get that one thing done and you do it like in the last minute, maybe in the last night, and then you have the project finished and then you're all happy with yourself. That's not what we aim for, because it's never gonna be the last goal you have in your life. Why do we want to have action plans in our life? Why do we want them to work? We want them so we make progress in our life. And in order to really make progress in our life, we have to make sure that we become a person who sticks to those action plans, who sticks to those tasks we set for ourselves. That is the big goal here. So don't do things in the last minute. Don't put too much on your plate, because it will not help you to become the person who sticks to those action plans. Step number 4, once a week, you sit down and you revise whatever you've done this week. You make a progress report for yourself. We need those things in order to have a measurement of how we have improved. This makes life so much easier, because otherwise you will let your emotions get the better of you. It will not help you in the long run. But what will help you is for you to sit down and to say, okay, those were the things I said I was going to do this week. Was I able first to get all of them done? If not, was it because I put too much on my plate? Was it that I mainly prioritized some things over something else and I let 2 of my points on my action plan slide while I focused on the 3 first ones? Like, look at it, be aware of it, and don't take it personally. If we don't have anything to measure ourselves on, we can't improve. And it's not so much about putting yourself down or making yourself feel bad for not making enough progress. It's actually the opposite. And this is how we get to step number 5, which is to aim for successes. You want to teach your mind to become somebody who sticks to their action plans. If you think back, let's say the last 15 years, if you would have really stuck to your goals, if you stuck to your action plans from that point till now, you would have so much more than you could ever imagine. So the goal has to be that we teach ourselves and we teach our mind to stick to those action plans. So how do we do that? Well, once you've made a progress report of, let's say, the last 2 weeks, and you see that you're not making so much progress in so many of those areas because you let it slide, because you just weren't consistent enough, is to actually take a step back and to say, well, I want to aim for successes. We have to have successes in order to do more. Be honest with yourself. If you thought you're disciplined enough to work out 5 times a week and you now realize, well, you were disciplined for 2 days and then you were not, then it's time for you to realize that you're not there yet. In most cases, we have to admit to ourselves and be honest with ourselves that we're not there where we want to be. We're far beyond from that. We're probably not that disciplined. We're probably not that productive, and that's okay. But we have to admit where we are. So if in the last weeks you were able to work out once a week, maybe twice a week, and not 5 times a week how you had planned, then for next week, plan 2 times. Have goals in your life that you can take. You want to be somebody who sticks to your goals, and the way you've been doing it hasn't worked so far, then change it. Put in your calendar, put in your goal list, whatever you do, put 2 times a week as a goal. And then see in the progress reports each Sunday that you do that you were able to achieve all your goals that week. That is the thing that will motivate you to then maybe put on like a 3rd session into the week after a couple of weeks while you are able to maintain those 2 sessions a week. It's really, really important that we incorporate this, that this becomes part of who we are. Because if you say, oh, I'm going to work out 5 times a week until I reach the body I always wanted, you will get to a point where it'll be too difficult and you'll find something else to do. But if it becomes a habit that you just take with you, then it's not like a big deal. It's just part of who you are. And that's what we want to go to. And this happens the best when you actually have successes, because then we get addicted to those habits. Then we get addicted to achieving those goals each week. If you want to have some more help with this, chat with me or check out the link on one-on-one coaching and the Epic Life Masterclass, and watch the video on the brain hacks to improve your productivity. Like always, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.